Welcome back. So far, we have solved differential equations by separating the variables, dragging all the x's to one side and all the y's to the other. Today we meet a family that refuses to cooperate, and the single most elegant trick in the first-order toolkit for handling it. The family is the first-order linear equation. In standard form, it reads y prime plus p of x times y equals q of x, where p and q are any functions of x you like. The unknown and its derivative appear only to the first power, never multiplied together, never inside a sign or a square root. That is what linear means here. But the y and the y prime are still tangled, so separation is hopeless. The cure is a special multiplier called the integrating factor. We will derive it, understand exactly why it works by running the product rule in reverse, and then unleash it on a tank of salt water and an electrical circuit. By the end, you will have one formula that cracks every equation of this shape. First, get organized. Every first-order linear equation can be massaged into one standard form, y prime plus p of x times y equals q of x. The coefficient on y prime must be 1. If your equation starts as a of x times y prime plus b of x times y equals c of x, just divide the whole thing by a of x first, so that p is b over a and q is c over a. Always reach standard form before doing anything else, because the formula we are about to build assumes it. Now, the word linear, it means y and y prime each appear only to the first power. They are never multiplied by each other, never raised to a power, never buried inside a sign or a logarithm. There is one easy case. If q is 0, the equation is called homogeneous, and it actually does separate y prime over y equals minus p. But the moment q is not 0, separation collapses because you cannot peel the q term cleanly onto the y side. That is exactly the gap the integrating factor fills. Here is the whole idea in one move. Remember the product rule. The derivative of mu times y equals mu times y prime plus mu prime times y. Hold that shape in your mind. Now take our equation, y prime plus py equals q, and multiply every term by some mystery function mu of x that we have not chosen yet. The left side becomes mu times y prime plus mu times p times y. Compare that to the product rule expansion. The first terms already match. The second terms match too, but only if mu times p equals mu prime. So if we can find a mu whose derivative is p times mu, then the entire left side of our equation is secretly the derivative of mu times y. The whole tangled left side collapses into a single, clean derivative. The method is not a lucky accident, it is the product rule run backward, and the integrating factor is the function that makes the run backward work. So we must find a mu whose derivative is p times mu. Notice that this little requirement is itself a separable equation. Divide both sides by mu. Mu prime over mu equals p of x. The left side is the derivative of the natural log of the absolute value of mu, so integrating gives log of mu equals the integral of p with respect to x. Exponentiate both sides, and mu of x equals e raised to the integral of p of x. That is the integrating factor. One subtlety, the indefinite integral carries a plus c, but we are free to pick any single integrating factor that works, so we just set that constant to 0. Two nice features fall out. Because mu is e to something, it is always strictly positive, which means at the end, when we divide by mu, we never divide by 0. And you can check it instantly. The derivative of e to the integral of p is p times e to the integral of p, which is exactly p times mu. The defining property holds. Let me assemble the full recipe, the one you will use every time. Step 1, write the equation in standard form, coefficient 1 on y prime. Step 2, read off p and compute the integrating factor mu as e to the integral of p. Step 3, multiply the whole equation by mu and recognize the left side as the derivative of mu times y. Step 4, integrate both sides with respect to x. On the left, you simply undo the derivative, leaving mu times y. On the right, you integrate mu times q, and this is where a plus c appears. Step 5, divide by mu to isolate y. So y of x equals 1 over mu times the quantity, the integral of mu times q plus c. That is the general solution. Notice the constant of integration rides along all the way to the end and gets divided by mu too. If you are handed an initial condition, you plug it in at the very last step to pin down c5 steps, and every first-order linear equation falls. Before computing, you have to recognize the form, because linear equations rarely show up already in standard form. The job is always the same: get a lone y prime with coefficient 1. Take x times y prime plus 2y equals sine x. Divide by x and it becomes y prime plus 2 over x times y equals sine x over x, so p is 2 over x. Or take y prime equals 3y plus e to the x. Move the 3y term left, y prime minus 3y equals e to the x, so p is minus 3. Or cosine x times y prime plus sine x times y equals 1. Divide by cosine x and you get y prime plus tangent x times y equals secant x. Equally important is recognizing what is not linear. If you see y squared or y times y prime or sine of y, the equation is nonlinear in the unknown and the integrating factor does not apply. Those wait for later episodes on substitution. Train your eye to sort linear from nonlinear at a glance. Let us make the central move visible. On the left of this picture is the equation right after we multiply by the integrating factor, mu times y prime plus mu times p times y equals mu times q. 3 separate pieces on the left, and they look like a mess. Now watch the arrow on the right. Those 2 left-hand pieces are color paired to the 2 terms of a product rule. The blue piece, mu times y prime, is the first product rule term. The orange piece, mu times p times y, is the second term, because we built mu so that mu prime equals p times mu. Together they are nothing but the derivative of the single product mu times y. The arrow shows the 2 scattered pieces folding into one tidy derivative. That fold is the entire method. Once the left side is a single derivative, integration is trivial, and the differential equation is essentially solved. Now the application that made this method famous, a mixing tank. Picture a tank holding some volume of salt water, brine. A pipe at the top pours in fresh solution at a known concentration and a known flow rate. A paddle keeps everything perfectly stirred so the salt is spread uniformly at every instant. A drain at the bottom lets the well-mixed solution flow out. We track the amount of salt in the tank, call it A of t. The key principle is a balance law. The rate of change of the salt equals the rate salt enters minus the rate it leaves. Salt enters at the inflow concentration times the inflow rate. Salt leaves at the current concentration, which is A divided by the volume, times the outflow rate. That outflow term is what makes A appear on both sides and turns the balance into a first-order linear equation. The integrating factor will crack it. Let us put numbers on it. A 100-liter tank starts with pure water, no salt. Brine at 1 kilogram of salt per liter flows in at 5 liters per minute, and the stirred mixture drains at 5 liters per minute, so the volume stays fixed at 100 liters. The salt-in rate is 1 times 5, which is 5 kilograms per minute. The salt-out rate is the current concentration, A over 100 times 5, so A prime equals 5 minus 5A over 100. Rearranged into standard form, A prime plus 1/20th A equals 5. Here, P is 1/20th, so the integrating factor is e to the t over 20. Multiply through, and the left side becomes the derivative of e to the t over 20 times a, equal to 5e to the t over 20. Integrate, the right side gives 100e to the t over 20 plus c. Divide by the factor, and a equals 100 plus ce to the minus t over 20. The tank starts empty, so a of 0 is 0, forcing c to be minus 100. The answer, a of t, equals 100 times the quantity, 1 minus e to the minus t over 20. As time runs on, the exponential dies and the salt approaches 100 kilograms, exactly the 1 kilogram per liter inflow filling the 100-liter tank. The math matches the intuition. Now, the same mathematics in a completely different costume, an electrical circuit. Take a resistor and an inductor in a loop, driven by a voltage source E of t. Kirchhoff's voltage law says the voltage across the inductor plus the voltage across the resistor equals the applied voltage. The inductor contributes L times the derivative of the current, and the resistor contributes R times the current. So L times I prime plus R times I equals E of t. Divide by L to reach standard form, I prime plus R over L times I equals E over L. The coefficient P is R over L, so the integrating factor is E to the R over L times T. Look at the shape. It is structurally identical to the salt tank. The inductor resists changes in current, the same way the draining tank resists changes in salt, and both produce that characteristic term, a constant times the unknown. Learn the method once and you have solved problems in chemistry and electrical engineering at the same time. Let us solve a concrete circuit. Take an inductance of 1 Henry, a resistance of 2 ohms, and a constant battery voltage of 12 volts, with no current flowing at time 0. The standard form is I prime plus 2, I equals 12. The integrating factor is e to the 2t. Multiply through, and the left side is the derivative of e to the 2tt times I equal to 12e to the 2t. Integrate the right side to get 6e to the 2t plus c. Divide by the factor I equals 6 plus ce to the minus 2t. The current starts at 0, so I of 0 equals 0 gives c equals minus 6. Therefore, I of t equals 6 times the quantity 1 minus e to the minus 2t. The current climbs and levels off at 6 amperes. And notice 6 is exactly the voltage divided by the resistance, 12 over 2, which is Ohm's law for the steady state. The inductor does not change where the current ends up, it only delays how fast it gets there. Same exponential rise to a limit as the salt tank, because it is the same equation. Step back and notice the shared anatomy of both solutions. The general solution always splits into 2 pieces. One piece is a particular solution, the steady part set by the forcing function Q. The other piece is c times e to the minus integral of p, the transient. The transient decays to 0 whenever the integral of p grows without bound, which is the system for getting its starting condition. In the tank, the steady part was 100, and the transient was minus 100 e to the minus t over 20. In the circuit, the steady part was 6, and the transient was minus 6 e to the minus 2t, identical structure, a long-run value plus a fading memory of the initial state. This split steady state plus transient runs through all of linear differential equations, and you are meeting it here for the first time. Recognizing it lets you predict the shape of a solution before you finish the algebra. Before the history, a quick tour of the 5 places people lose points, because every one of them is avoidable. First, skipping standard form. If you forget to divide so that y prime has coefficient 1, you read off the wrong p and everything downstream is wrong. Always standardize first. Second, sign and absolute value slips. The integral of 1 over x is the log of the absolute value of x, and mishandling that botches the integrating factor. Third, and the most common, forgetting that mu multiplies the right-hand side too. After you multiply through, the right side is the integral of mu times q, not the integral of q alone. Fourth, losing the constant of integration, or forgetting that when you divide by mu at the end, the plus c gets divided by mu as well, which is why it often appears multiplied by a decaying exponential. Fifth, trying to use the integrating factor on a nonlinear equation. It only works once y and y prime appear linearly. Watch these 5 and the method is foolproof. A few words on where this trick comes from. In the 1690s, Gottfried Leibniz, one of the 2 inventors of calculus, was already solving the earliest linear equations by multiplying through with a cleverly chosen function, an embryonic integrating factor. Johann Bernoulli, of the famous Bernoulli family who treated differential equations almost as a competitive sport, sharpened the technique and applied it widely. And in the 1700s, Leonhard Euler, the most prolific mathematician in history, systematized the integrating factor into the clean general recipe we teach today. It is worth appreciating what this represented. Before these methods, solving a differential equation meant inventing a fresh trick for each curve. The integrating factor was one of the first tools that turned a whole class of problems into a routine mechanical procedure. That shift, from one-off cleverness to reliable algorithm, is exactly what made calculus usable for engineering. Let us recap. A first-order linear equation, in standard form, reads y prime plus p of x times y equals q of x, with y and y prime appearing only to the first power. Because the unknown and its derivative are tangled, it will not separate. The fix is the integrating factor mu of x equal to e to the integral of p, which is always positive. We build mu precisely so that its derivative is p times mu, which makes the left side of the multiplied equation the derivative of mu times y, the product rule run in reverse. That gives the master formula, y equals 1 over mu times the integral of mu times q plus a constant. We solved a stirred salt tank, getting 100 times 1 minus e to the minus t over 20, and an RL circuit, getting 6 times 1 minus e to the minus 2t. Both share the same anatomy, a steady part plus a decaying transient. And we trace the method from Leibniz through Johann Bernoulli to Euler. Next episode, Exact Equations, we will read a first-order equation as the total derivative of a hidden surface and find the solution as one of its level curves. Today we conquered the first-order linear equation. In standard form, it reads y prime plus p of x times y equals q of x. The unknown and its derivative appear only to the first power, and they are tangled together, so separation fails. The fix is the integrating factor mu of x, which equals e to the integral of p of x with respect to x. Multiply the whole equation by mu, and here's the miracle. The left side becomes exactly the derivative of mu times y. That is the product rule running in reverse. We engineered mu precisely so that mu prime equals p times mu. Once the left side is a single derivative, you integrate both sides and divide by mu to get y. We watched this work on a stirred tank, where salt flows in and a well-mixed solution flows out, giving a linear equation for the amount of salt over time. And we watched it on a resistor inductor circuit, where the current obeys L times I prime plus R times I equals the applied voltage. Both are the same equation wearing different costumes. Next time, Exact Equations, we read a first-order equation as the total derivative of a hidden surface, and the solution becomes a level curve, f of x and y equals a constant. If you got something out of this, please like the video, drop a comment with what clicked for you or what didn't, and subscribe for more educational videos. Every like, comment, and share helps push this work to more learners, which is what this channel is really about. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.